Hold on tight because what Cynthia Bailey just spilled about Porsha Williams makes reality television look tame by comparison. For years, viewers believed they understood Porsha Williams, the polished camera-ready star who grinned through reunions, interviews, and conveniently staged emotional breakdowns. Yet behind that glossy facade allegedly existed a maze of secrets, betrayals, and jaw-dropping double lives nobody expected to uncover. Cynthia never softened the blow. She yanked the curtain aside, pointing at hidden lesbian affairs, overlapping romances with high-profile men, and dangerous truths that Porsha Williams allegedly buried for years beneath her so-called self-discovery journey. According to insiders, it was merely a carefully orchestrated cover story meant to shield her image, fame, and power. Every tear, every confession fans cheered, perhaps nothing more than performance art. These allegations sink far deeper than emotional betrayal alone. Insiders murmured about serious health risks, undisclosed medical dangers, and overlapping partners. Accusations capable of torching reputations and leaving audiences stunned. Then comes the infamous African prince scandal, allegedly staged with a $15,000 payoff, a fabricated tale crafted to twist public perception and maintain Porsha Williams' carefully curated image. When Cynthia detonated these bombshells live, the studio instantly erupted into chaos. Porsha Williams allegedly snapped. Screams and shouting flooded the room, and she's my own girl and she kicked me in my stomach. I have a very low tolerance for foolishness. And this isn't anything that I'm used to. I'm not used to buckle up because what's about to emerge isn't just messy, it's disastrous. For years, viewers believed they understood Porsha Williams. The polished redemption storyline, the controlled tears, the perfectly timed vulnerability at every reunion. She smiled through the madness, mastered the lens, and sold a narrative of growth. But according to Cynthia Bailey, that version was never real. What she exposed points to something far icier, far more intentional, and far more dangerous than anyone anticipated. When Cynthia finally spoke, the ground shifted. Insiders claim Porsha Williams' public awakening wasn't healing at all. It was choreography, a performance designed to guard her image, protect her brand, and twist every storyline her way. Behind the rehearsed confessionals, she was allegedly living two lives simultaneously. Hidden same-sex relationships, overlapping affairs, and emotional destruction left behind as collateral. Familiar names once celebrated in headlines now appear trapped in years of secrecy and alleged betrayal, reaching far deeper than viewers ever imagined. Then, here comes the moment that froze everyone solid. Quiet warnings, hushed concerns, accusations of health dangers linked to overlapping partners, secrets hauled around like loaded weapons. According to backstage whispers, those risks weren't accidents. They were dismissed. And while the crowd cheered her evolution, praised her tears, and defended her fragility, a much darker pattern was allegedly forming beyond the spotlight. Stacked onto that sits the African prince saga, now labeled manufactured theater. Cynthia alleges a performer was reportedly paid $15,000 to help sell a storyline, smearing reality until even insiders couldn't see where truth stopped and performance started. What once looked like scandals suddenly screamed strategy, a plot allegedly purchased and packaged for maximum impact. When these claims burst out live, restraint evaporated. Porsha Williams reportedly detonated. Security rushed in as voices climbed, tempers snapped, and the studio collapsed into chaos. Cameras never cut away. What was gossip instantly morphed into confrontation, raw, unfiltered, and impossible to contain. The spectacle spread within minutes, and fans split just as quickly. Public reaction shattered straight down the middle. Some praised Cynthia as the one who finally voiced what everyone secretly feared all along. Others slammed her for an ambush, insisting Porsha Williams was offered up for shock value and ratings. But insiders swear the damage had already landed. The long-circulating rumors stopped feeling hypothetical. They felt validated. Every accusation stacked weight onto a story brewing for years. Allegedly overlapping relationships, allegedly emotional manipulation, allegedly hidden risks. What once sounded like tabloid static suddenly felt disturbingly aligned. The self-discovery storyline now reads as misdirection, a smokescreen crafted from curated posts, polished interviews, and perfectly timed breakdowns. Throughout the eruption, Cynthia never cracked. Calm, deliberate, unmoved. Her delivery turned chaos into something clinical, almost prosecutorial. Timelines matched, names linked, patterns surfaced. The staged scandal, the overlapping relationships, the hushed dangers, all dragged into open daylight at once. Fans instantly flipped into forensic mode. Old reunions, old laughs, old side-eyes. Moments once brushed off as playful now felt charged. Innocent exchanges became evidence. Every frame suddenly dripped with suspicion, pointing toward a reality far darker than what viewers were sold. When the studio finally calmed, the implications only grew heavier. Porsha's image of redemption shattered beyond saving. Insiders claimed charm and image management concealed years of secret behavior, with damage stretching beyond betrayal into emotional trauma and real-world fallout. The boundary between authenticity and performance fully collapsed, turning fame itself into a cautionary tale. Now every replay matters. Every clip feels altered. Alleged deception, alleged health risks, alleged manipulation. A carefully constructed reality TV persona unraveling live. Cynthia Bailey's disclosure isn't mere scandal. It's a reckoning. A public courtroom driven by attention, outrage, and memory. And this isn't the finale. The tension hasn't peaked. It's only starting. The fallout will continue spreading, pulling new details into the open. Reality TV was never supposed to bleed like this. Fans are left questioning every smile, doubting every confession, and replaying the past to grasp how deep the deception ran. What remains is chaos and an echo that refuses to fade. The room had barely caught its breath. Still, the pressure only intensified. Silence weighed heavy as every stare fixed on Porsha Williams. Her face no longer showed practiced composure under unforgiving studio lights. It had splintered into something raw, unstable. A collision of fury, panic, and sheer survival instinct. Across from her, Cynthia Bailey didn't flinch. She remained steady, composed, almost clinical, less a castmate, more an executioner reading a verdict. Cameras locked on, capturing every pause, every clenched jaw, every involuntary twitch that spoke volumes words couldn't touch. Behind the scenes, sources later admitted this eruption wasn't sudden. It had been simmering quietly for months. What viewers brushed off as harmless tension or playful shade was allegedly something far darker: layers of manipulation, strategic alliances, and whispered secrets. According to Cynthia and multiple insiders, Porsha Williams had spent years meticulously crafting a flawless public image while secretly navigating a labyrinth of overlapping relationships, covert liaisons, and dangerous truths capable of wrecking lives. These allegations didn't stop at romance. They allegedly included emotional leverage, health-related risks, and calculated choices designed to safeguard control, relevance, and dominance at all costs. As Cynthia pressed on, the room shifted again. Her claims weren't vague. They were anchored. Old footage resurfaced. Messages, timestamps, and archived posts were dragged into the spotlight. Off-camera testimonies filled in the blanks, revealing a second life meticulously hidden from the public eye. Allegedly, relationships involving Todd Tucker, Future, and Simon Goadia weren't isolated incidents but overlapping timelines, entwined with secret same-sex affairs that sparked confusion, jealousy, and betrayal. Fans who once celebrated Porsha Williams' vulnerability started feeling uneasy, reinterpreting every tear and confession they had trusted. Then came the twist that flipped everything on its head. The so-called African Prince saga, once dismissed as ridiculous drama, suddenly seemed calculated. Insiders alleged the reported $15,000 payment to a singer was just the tip of the iceberg. Every staged moment, every perfectly timed reveal, allegedly served a grander scheme, crafted to manipulate perception, garner sympathy, and safeguard an illusion. What once seemed authentic now reeked of scripting, leaving Porsha Williams' public image fragile and intentionally constructed. When the confrontation finally reached its peak, control evaporated. Porsha Williams reportedly lunged forward, driven by fear and rage, reacting not to insult but to exposure. Security rushed in as the scene turned physical. Cameras didn't cut. Shouts rang out. Movement blurred. What began as testimony spiraled into chaos, raw, unfiltered, and broadcast live. Within minutes, the footage exploded across social media, replayed obsessively, dissected frame by frame as shock morphed into full-blown obsession. Reactions split instantly. Some viewers argued Porsha Williams had been cornered, ambushed without mercy. Others lauded Cynthia for voicing what many had suspected but dared not say. Yet the sheer scale of the allegations, overlapping relationships, hidden dangers, manufactured scandals, refused to fit a neat narrative. Every clip, screenshot, and public response became evidence, gradually assembling a picture far darker than the polished persona audiences once worshipped. The fallout spilled well beyond the studio. Producers scrambled, weighing legal exposure against ratings. Executives debated edits, terrified of lawsuits, backlash, and advertiser fallout. While networks hesitated, the audience didn't. Fans turned investigators, building timelines, matching dates, connecting patterns, and speculating on the depth of deception. Sources say the consequences stretched beyond headlines. Emotional fallout, shattered trust, and relentless scrutiny converged into an inescapable storm. Every alleged affair, every hidden risk, every curated lie now carried real weight. Porsha Williams' narrative of growth and redemption crumbled under its own contradictions, leaving every future appearance cast in shadow. Doubt swirled, but Cynthia's stance became undeniable. By refusing to soften her claims or back down, she turned gossip into something prosecutorial. What began as rumor erupted into a public reckoning, a viral tribunal where accountability finally demanded its stage. Allegedly, even longtime cast members were stunned, realizing long-ignored patterns had been exposed all at once, and the public couldn't look away. Every repost, reaction, and comment became another thread unraveling a tightly wound secret life. Allegations stacked, forming a story too disturbing to ignore and too compelling to dismiss. This was no longer mere reality TV. It had become a cultural moment, a cautionary tale about image, ambition, and the cost of living two lives at once. When the dust began to settle, one truth remained. This wasn't just scandal. It was a collision between persona and reality, control and consequence. Porsha Williams' fall, Cynthia's resolve, and the audience's obsession fused into a spectacle that wouldn't quietly disappear. And if this was only the beginning, the aftermath promised even more destruction. The eruption in the studio didn't end when security removed Porsha Williams. Within minutes, it magnified. Chaos spilled outward, flooding timelines, forums, group chats, and breaking news banners flashed. Clips looped endlessly. Screenshots were frozen, zoomed in, and reposted. Anonymous tips surfaced by the hour. What had once been edited, polished reality television now pulsed with life, chaotic and uncontrollable. A public unraveling fueled by betrayal, secrecy, and visible emotional collapse. Allegedly, Porsha Williams' entire image was under intense scrutiny, with past interviews, reunion moments, and tearful confessions re-examined for cracks, contradictions, and signs of calculated performance. Behind the scenes, the damage ran deeper. Sources say cast members were left stunned, torn between loyalty and fear, unsure who would be dragged into the fallout next. Producers scrambled too, realizing years of narrative control had shattered in a single broadcast. Allegedly, the overlapping relationships, hidden same-sex affairs, and manufactured storylines weren't impulsive. They were strategic moves meant to secure influence, manipulate perception, and dominate the storyline. Once revealed, the illusion collapsed entirely, leaving confusion, distrust, and a public narrative no one could control. Alleged health concerns amplified everything. Whispers of undisclosed risks and overlapping partners shifted the conversation from scandal to genuine danger. Online spaces turned into courtrooms where viewers debated responsibility, consent, and accountability. Each post became testimony. Each comment, a verdict. Victim or manipulator, truth-teller or strategist. Every angle was scrutinized with ruthless precision, and nothing was dismissed as coincidence anymore. The African Prince saga took on a new significance. What once appeared as absurd television drama now screamed deception. Allegedly staged scenes, reported cash payments for fabricated accounts, and tightly guarded illusions became evidence, not of entertainment, but of how far image management could stretch. The narrative cast Porsha Williams as someone who allegedly prioritized visibility over honesty, control over safety, and storyline over sincerity. With every corroborated detail, the situation escalated from controversy into full-blown crisis. A reality TV implosion with consequences no edit could soften. Fans showed zero mercy. Old reunions were replayed frame by frame. Social posts were recaptioned. Past statements stripped of context were reinterpreted as clues. Allegedly, moments once dismissed as playful or scripted now felt calculated, risky, and ethically ambiguous. The fallout forced viewers to question not only Porsha Williams' image, but Cynthia's role, and the production machine that had fueled the performance for years. Porsha Williams' reaction stayed at the storm's eye. Allegedly, the outburst wasn't spontaneous. It marked the breaking point of years spent sustaining a fractured double life. Insider accounts and security reports suggested the confrontation nearly crossed a line no one could reverse, revealing the human cost of fame layered with secrecy and relentless pressure. Meanwhile, Cynthia Bailey only grew more pivotal. Her composure, consistency, and refusal to back down turned the spectacle into something judicial. Viewers weren't merely watching, they were judging. Each allegation was weighed, each timeline dissected. The audience became a vocal, divided jury. Allegedly, even longtime friends and insiders were forced to re-evaluate years of behavior, noticing patterns that once seemed harmless but now appeared deliberate. The media frenzy fed itself. Headlines multiplied. Algorithms pushed the footage everywhere. Fan theories branched into hundreds of interpretations of the same story. What started as celebrity gossip evolved into a cultural moment about power, secrecy, and consequence. Allegedly, the mix of emotional exposure, health concerns, and orchestrated narratives exposed something far darker. Reality television wasn't merely reflecting behavior, it was actively shielding it. As days unfolded, timelines were reconstructed piece by piece. Dates were cross-checked, statements contradicted. Relationships overlapped on charts shared across platforms. Each new finding reinforced the same conclusion. The public persona had been meticulously crafted while the private reality remained unstable, hidden, and dangerous. The fallout extended offline. Allegedly fractured friendships, ruined careers, and reputations that might never fully recover. The cultural weight of the scandal became undeniable. Fans debated ethics and accountability as media outlets documented every twist. Allegedly, any attempt at redemption or explanation was buried beneath the sheer scale of exposure and the intensity of the reveal. Cynthia's claims didn't just implicate one individual, they rattled the system that allowed image to triumph over truth. In the end, this was no longer gossip. It became a cautionary tale about fame, secrecy, and the cost of living two lives at once. The confrontation, the revelations, and the fallout merged into a living tragedy that refused to settle. Every clip now carries weight. Every word bears consequence, and the reverberations of this unraveling will echo long after the camera's cut. And the aftermath shows no signs of fading. What Cynthia Bailey unleashed has left Porsha Williams standing amidst the wreckage of her own carefully curated image. Every polished moment shattered, every practiced smile now under suspicion. The allegations, overlapping relationships, alleged health risks, and supposedly staged scandals have collided into a spectacle far too volatile to ignore. Fans are looping old footage, re-watching reunions, and scrutinizing every past moment with fresh eyes. Social media has morphed into a courtroom, and the verdict feels perpetually unsettled. Every post, every reply, every viral thread weighs truth against strategy, accountability against survival. The intensity caught on camera, the physical tension, the emotional collapse, the chaos, stripped gossip of its distance and made it brutally real. Security logs, insider testimonies, and anonymous tips kept surfacing, reinforcing a reality few were prepared to face. Allegedly buried truths have been dragged into daylight, exposing not only deception but the psychological toll of fame, secrecy, and relentless scrutiny. Porsha Williams' responses, Cynthia's unwavering stance, and the network's scramble now form a single volatile narrative that refuses to fade. Spotlight. This is no ordinary scandal. It has escalated into a cultural reckoning, a case study in power, loyalty, and the consequences of living two lives at once. Allegedly orchestrated narratives, emotional manipulation, and hidden truths have transformed reality television into a public courtroom. Every viewer is now implicated. Every fan becomes a witness to a breakdown unfolding without filters or safety nets. There's no turning away now. The story keeps evolving. New details emerge. Old moments resurface with new meaning. The fallout continues, spreading, leaving confusion, grief, and disbelief in its wake. Pay attention. Question motives. Decide where you stand. Talk about it. Analyze it. Because this is no longer just entertainment. It's a viral rupture that could permanently reshape how reality TV is watched, interpreted, and believed.